you're like 90% of the entrepreneurs I know, you're reading the books, you're doing the mentorships programs, you're investing in yourself nonstop, you're trying and working harder, you're trying to squeeze more hours out of the day, yet you're stuck. You're at this ceiling, you're at this plateau, you can only stretch so far, and you can't seem to hit that next level in your success. Now, maybe what that is for you is hitting 10K per month. Maybe it's 20K, maybe it's 50K, maybe it's even 100K. But for some reason, you find you're kind of stuck at this certain threshold, almost like the thermometer, right? Where you have it set at 70 degrees, you sometimes stretch above it, you hit 80, but it brings you back to 70 degrees over and over and over again. But what if I told you that at this point in your business and your success, it's probably not going to be another strategy, but in fact, it's probably going to be an identity change. And that's what we're going to be discussing here today, guys, is how by changing your identity, automatically it will allow you to handle more success in your life, to break through these plateaus, these ceiling gaps, and finally make it to that next level. Because here's the honest truth. If it was an information problem at this time, it would ChatGPT would probably solve it like that for you. We have AI now. AI can solve so many information gap problems. All that information is out there. All the books are out there. But the reason why you might not be seeing the information that you need to get to that next level, because maybe it's right there in front of our faces, maybe that one little tweak we need to make, perhaps we're not able to see it because it does not align with what we already believe to be true about ourselves, our current identity. Because that's literally what happens. Your identity, okay, so let's break this down. So let's say this is you right here. You're trying to chase success. You're trying to hit the next level in your business, but yet you feel like there's this band stuck around you. You're stuck. Nothing seems to work out. Every time that you chase it, you self-sabotage. You snap back to square one over and over and over again. You try the next book, the next mentorship, nothing's working. By the way, this happened to me for over 3 years. About 3 years I was stuck at a plateau, and I'm going to share that on the next graph, on the next picture. So you're trying to get to the success and you're stuck. What is this block here? This block is your identity. Your identity is built off of your thoughts and emotions, which come from your core belief systems. Your identity, plain and simple, is who you believe you are. Okay? So for example, if you believe that money is evil, if money is hard to make, if making $1 million is impossible or super hard, if you believe that you are a six-figure man or woman, if you believe that money is evil, right? That is all a part of who you believe you are, how you believe the world works. So how your beliefs work, though, just a quick story, how your beliefs work is they're basically the rules for your brain. If I believe that I am a six-figure earner, if I believe that to be true, then my brain, the way we function, because your beliefs are basically the program. And the brain wants to follow the program because that's what's most safe and secure. So if I believe I'm a six-figure person, or if I believe that money's evil, or I'm a millionaire, or whatever it may be, my brain over time, once I truly believe this to be true, my brain must go find evidence for that in my external world to reconfirm that belief. You see, your brain isn't looking for the actual full-on truth of reality, or whatever you want to call it. Your brain isn't full-on looking for that. It's just looking to confirm what you already believe to be true. Okay? Your brain is the best prediction machine possible. So if you believe that you're ugly, if you believe you're not a good person, if you believe that you're not good enough, you will find that in your external world over and over and over again and keep buying into that program. So it's unbelievable how powerful this truly is. But you're probably getting a little taste on why we self-sabotage when it comes to our businesses based off that identity. So we have this core identity, who we believe we are, okay? So let's say for you, you grew up in a household where your mom or your dad was making, $100,000 a year or $80,000 a year. So you grew up around that. So that's safe, that's secure, that's normalized for you. That's a part of your core identity. You believe that's totally possible because you've been surrounded around it your whole life. And then you go out in your business and you make $100,000 a year. But now when you're trying to hit that 200,000, that 300, that 400, that 500,000, you seem to self-sabotage. You can't handle that much success. You seem to make the money and then you throw it away, you give it away, you self-sabotage, or something happens and you snap right back. that is when we hit the elastic band effect. Okay. And this is where basically you're chasing after your success, right? You're trying to get to the success. Your core identity is back here, who you believe you are, the safety zone. And then you stretch so far. You're trying to run away from who you believe you are. And this is where we have an identity mismatch because you're taking different kind of actions. You're trying new things, right? You might even tasting a little bit of the success, that extra money. And now this is where so this right here, we'll say, is a safety strap. We'll call that the safety strap. And basically this is where, like, when you're, you know how, you're gonna go skydiving, you're gonna go do something new, and you get that gritty feeling and that uncomfortable feeling, right? Think of it like that. You're trying to change yourself. You're trying to accomplish new success. You're trying to handle more money in your life, but your identity, your inner thermostat was built to be at 80 degrees. And you're trying to get over here, which is at 90 degrees. So what happens is that this is the automatic sensor, or whatever you want to call it, in the thermostat that will click in and say, hey, we're rising to above our normal. This is not the standard. We need to go back to 80. So then this kind of jumps in, and this is how this plays out in the real life, though, is that we self-sabotage, right? You make more money, you find a way to just lose it all, or give it all away, or something terrible happens after you hit those record months. That's a very clear sign right there, right? You slow down a little bit. You take the pedal. You take your foot off the gas a little bit when you're on that really good momentum strike. You feel like an imposter. You hesitate on making new moves, new hiring. You do all these little things that cause you to slow your own progress. Oftentimes it's not about doing more. It's actually about cutting the anchors that are holding us down, making us do less. Okay, the resistance. So we're trying to get this success. We're trying to run away from who we already believe we are, our current identity, but the safety strap is stuck around us over and over and over again. And it pops up as procrastination, distractions, excuses. We have these terrible self-doubt thoughts, thoughts that put ourselves down. We don't feel good. We get in these mental funks. We self-sabotage, like I already said, over and over again. All these things are happening. Call these symptoms, okay? So these are popping up to the surface, all right? And then what happens is, another thing that jumps in is ego. Okay, so ego is protector of identity. Your ego is the protector of identity. Ego protects who you already believe you are. So you have a belief that you are not good enough, that money is hard to make. All right, that's what you believe to be true. Your ego is like, sure, let's go with that program. I will protect this belief at all cost because this is what is safe and secure for the program, our brain. So we need to make sure this keeps going over and over and over again. The biggest thing that ego hates is an identity death. So ego will protect you. Now, how ego protects us is it almost wears a mask that many of us don't even see. And it will sneak out through your thoughts. When you say things like, I want to go to this next level, but, I'm just not that good enough. I'm scared to put myself out there. I don't know what it's going to be like. I want to accomplish this new success, but I don't think I can handle it. I don't think I'm worthy enough. I don't feel like I'm good enough. All these different thoughts, or even, well, money's just super, super hard to make. That's why. When you have those thoughts, one thing to realize is that is typically the ego speaking through you if it is disempowering and not aligned with where you want to go. Because when you have those thoughts that are not in line with where you want to go, they don't serve you, right? So what are they trying to actually do? They're trying to keep you stuck where you've been. So any thought that connects to the idea that is trying to keep you back to where you came from, that is usually the ego speaking through you, okay? And most of us, what happens though is that we buy into it. We buy into our thoughts. We don't realize that you are not actually your thoughts. You're the observer of your thoughts. But when you buy into the thoughts, when you associate yourself with them, it keeps you stuck over and over and over again. So I'm going to share with you here very soon on how I had these money beliefs that were keeping me stuck in my business for a very long time. and how I actually broke free. So that's part one with the idea of the elastic band and how we can only stretch so far from our core identity. Now let me share with you a personal story of how it happened to me in real time and what kind of sparked my passion to help others with this and to make these kind of trainings. So when I built my first successful business, so my first actually successful business was called Coach Hayward. And this was specifically what I did was a weight loss coaching business. And I started this around the age of 19. And by 22, I built it into multiple six figures a year. And then what happened though, to hit the new level of my success, I got stuck at a plateau for about 3 years, we'll say. And it was terrible. I'm going to show you what happened. Because literally, when I figured this out, when I actually figured this out, the block in the way, it was crazy because what happened was I ended up breaking the ceiling that I was stuck at for 3 years in 2 months. In 2 months. So if this can do that for you, I have succeeded. I've done my job for the day. Okay, so here's what happened is I was growing my business and I hit this certain threshold in my business, certain revenue per month. Now, what allowed me to really get there in the first place was I had already some good enough belief systems around myself, around what I believed I could do, and I had extreme discipline and grit. And I really, really overworked myself to make it happen. So I do believe, again, a lot of entrepreneurs, you can probably relate to this. Like when you build your business, some of you, if you grew up with a family like of entrepreneurs, then that's pretty already in you. Some of you might just have this overall drive of like, you cannot work for someone else. You need to do your own thing. But also some of you might come from a place of like major insecurity. I need to prove myself in the world. I'm not good enough. So I need to go, improve my worth in the external world through my work, whatever it may be. Now, so I built this business, and by the age of 22, we were doing extremely well. And then I hit this plateau. And here's what happened, because by 25, I finally figured this out. By 24, 25, I finally caught the pattern. But basically what would happen is that I would work hard, right? I would make more money, okay? So I'd make more money, and then I would self-sabotage, stress, struggle, capped. So hit a cap and then work harder. So this was my cycle. And this happened for years. As soon as I made over six figures, a couple six figures, what happened was this cycle. And it kept me stuck for 3 years. And I'll tell you, I worked my guts out. I've done 7 to 8 other, like with business coaches and mentors, I've hired about 7 to 8 of them, ad agencies, one-to-one mentors, getting all the sheets, data tracking, advertising, marketing, business coaches, sales coaches, hypnotherapists eventually. I tried everything to break this ceiling. When I say everything, I mean I put every single thing into growing this business, to growing my mission. And it did not change until one event. So what happened again was I'd work hard, I'd make more money. So I'd start to hit these record months. I'd start to make more money in my life, felt awesome, more freedom, more money, let's go. But then quickly after, as I would self-sabotage. Now, my self-sabotaging showed up in ways that I wasn't even conscious of, though. Spending too much money, expenses got too high, running into challenges, changing up my strategy after 1 or 2 bad months because I'm not trusting the process, right, or whatever it may be. So changing up my strategy and then going back into struggle and having to restart things, advertising costs and not understanding certain things. So I would then self-sabotage. I would start to lose this money. I would start to almost give this money away or something. And then really quickly, I found myself back into stress, struggle, and I would capped out. And I could not expand myself. I could not expand my business. So what did I do? Again, you should know this, that the way I would act, again, comes from my core belief systems. Key. This is key. So what I would do is I'd do what I knew best. I'd work harder. You got to work harder. You got to hustle harder, grind harder, work longer on Saturdays, wake up earlier in the morning, stay later in the office, work harder, and that is the way to get you there. So that's what I would do. And I'd make more money and I'd self-sabotage over and over and over again for 3 years. This was terrible. And then I finally was able to make the switch. And the switch, what this switch was I went to a mentorship, a business event in Hawaii. And on the last day, it was the most transformational day I've had. One of the top, we'll say 4 or 5, maybe 3 in my life. And that one day changed everything in my life. Everything in my life. And within 2 months, I doubled my business revenue. And the next month after, I made even more. Just in 2 months, after 3 years of this struggle. And what it was at that event, it was not another strategy. It wasn't anything specific like that. Because here's the thing, the strategy that allowed me to then double my business, I was able to actually see them. I was able to actually understand them, implement them properly, stay consistent with it all. But that all happened because what I did on that last day was it's gone now, but I destroyed my old identity. I destroyed my old ego, my identity, and I figured out how to dismantle my belief system, how to genuinely be the observer of my life, how to recognize patterns. And this process led me on over a year-long journey of taking a complete step back from the world and breaking down my entire belief system, my entire identity, ego, everything, just what people would call spiritual warfare is what I went through, and destroyed it all. And I came back with brand new empowering belief systems and a brand new identity and a process on how to actually do this consistently over and over and over again. That's how much it changed my life. And what happened was I recognized that this is a pattern. Okay, Tony Robbins talks about this. The most successful people, the people who can recognize patterns the fastest, right? That is how we evolved. That is how we got better in life. That's how we grew. He talks about the famous idea of how the way that we grew as a society is that we start to understand seasons, because once you understand seasons, you know when to plant, when to harvest your crops, all those things. And when you can do that, then you can survive even easier in the winter times. You can grow faster, expand faster, yada, yada, yada. All right, Tony talks about that a lot. So I found this pattern. And I understood how my belief systems work now and how my brain works and how I do create my personal reality. So then it was easy, right? Okay, the pattern is that, well, every time I make money, I find myself in chaos, stress, and struggle. So what would I have to believe to be true about money? Boom. I would have to believe to be true that money is stressful to make. I would have to believe that money is hard to make, that suffering means success, that I'm not good enough to make that much money because that much money is too hard to make. And when I figured out that I had these disempowering belief systems, because before they're unconscious programs running in the background that just run my life and I never questioned them, because that's how I grew up, right? Like I grew up in a household where my dad works a lot. He works a lot. And, just around society and family and stuff like that, you see that money can equal stress. Money can equal struggle or fighting and stuff like that. There was always, there's tension around money. So because again, your beliefs are typically created from when you're a young child, when you're just experiencing the world, you're still forming your sense of self, what you believe to be true about yourself, the world, how things function and are, right? And oftentimes, especially when you grow up in a small town and there's not a lot of people around you who make a lot of money, you grow up with these disempowering and different money beliefs. So I figured out that I had limiting beliefs around money that was causing me stress, the struggle that was capping me out. And as soon as I recognized that and I was able to change those beliefs that I had, as soon as I let go of those disempowering beliefs, it caused a complete ripple effect in my life. And this is the magic that I really want you to pay attention to. And this is what's going to allow you to really grow your business, to really hit that next level. Because how it works is that your core belief system, your core belief system produces your thoughts and emotions. So what you think about, how you think about expanding your business, the next business move that you're thinking of, your strategies that you're thinking of, your sales tactics, how you feel. If you're confident on a sales call, if you're not confident, if you're confident leading your team, if you're not confident, if you're confident showing up to events or not confident, how you feel, okay, which people really can connect with and resonate with, right? Especially if you're making content online, they want authenticity. They don't want you to follow a script and be fake and all that crap, right? So your beliefs create your thoughts and emotions, and then over time, a thought and emotion held over time, right? Because over time, if you keep thinking a thought, eventually you're going to believe it to be true, right? That's what a belief is, basically, or a part of it. So over time, as you think and feel this way, your brain doesn't know the difference between actual reality and imagination. So as you continue to do this, it forms your sense of self, who you believe you are. And then who you believe you are, your identity, influences your behaviors, which another way to put that is your actions. And actions produce results in your life. And that's why this is so important that you get this down. Because before, what you might be doing is you have the same identity, same thoughts and feelings, and you're only trying to change the actions. So you try a new strategy, the new mentorship, the new books, and it allows you to get a little bit ahead, build off that momentum, but it pulls you back really quickly. And the reason why is not always because the actions were bad, it's because the identity that was driving it in the first place. Imagine it like this. Imagine your strategy is the hammer and you are the person holding the hammer, right? It's not the tool that's bad. If you don't know how to use the tool, it's your fault, right? If you don't know how to use the hammer, it's your fault. You could have the nicest hammer in the world, but you might be holding it the wrong way. So when you try to beat the nail in, you're just messing the wood up. You're chunking it up. You're breaking it. It's just not looking good, right? So when we change ourselves, then we change how we approach strategies, how we execute strategies, how long we can stay consistent for, how we can think outside the box, how we can change our business, recognize patterns in our team, let go of micromanagement in our team to let our team actually breathe and become leaders themselves. When we change ourselves, everything else changes as well. And I'm living proof of it, and I've helped clients do this before as well. When you change yourself, everything else changes as well. When I change my identity, when I change those beliefs, guess what? There was no reason for this program to still play. Because what was happening is that this program, this pattern that was playing out, was just basically a belief system, finding confirmation in the external world, and it was just a cycle, right? I believe that money was stressful and money was and success equals suffering, right? So then, okay, if I believe that to be true, I think and feel that way. All right, well then, if I want to make more money, I need to go work harder, right? I need to put more hours in. It's going to be more stressful. It's going to be more struggle. I go work harder. Oh my gosh, it's actually paying off. It's actually paying off. But then, as soon as I made the money, I'd find a way to self-sabotage because now I'm identity mismatch, right? Can't handle this much money. I don't believe I'm worthy enough of this much money, or money equals stress or struggle. So I'm having an identity mismatch. I'm acting too far away from the identity. Elastic band, snap back, self-sabotage, finding ways to lose the money, raising my expenses, investing in things too quickly without thinking properly, whatever it may be, right? Because again, your beliefs create your thoughts and emotions and how you think and how you then act in the world. So you're capped, you're limited to what you believe to be true. So I'd self-sabotage and I'd find myself in the same cycle. But as soon as you change the belief, as soon as I change the belief that money does not mean stress and struggle, and my worth, my worth does not come from my effort and my work effort. Okay? When I change those belief systems, those are just some examples. When I change those though, then I start to think and feel differently about myself. My identity started to change over time. And then my actions naturally changed without me even trying to change them they naturally changed because the belief, once I shattered it and changed it, it caused a ripple effect that allowed everything else in my life to change. And guess what? My results changed as well, faster than I could ever imagined. Literally doubled my business revenue in 2 months after 3 years of struggle. And it was almost, and I hate to say this, but it was almost effortless. It was almost effortless as soon as I did this work. So that's part 2 on the personal story. All right, so let's drive this home with one last main point on how identity allows you to really break through that ceiling once and for all. So when you change your identity, you can truly change or break the ceiling that you're at. You quit the self-sabotage patterns. You can unlock that next level of your success and actually enjoy it. If you're liking this video, make sure you like and subscribe below. Share this with a fellow friend who might need this right now in their lives. Okay, I did this before in my past trainings, but it's important that we do it again. And this goes down to the idea of why hiring a mentor is so powerful and important. Because their identity, their beliefs are expanded so they can usually see things that you cannot see. All right, so this is point 3, to really drive this one home, and how your identity can truly, by changing your identity, can truly unlock that next level in your success. So this eyeball here, think of this as, this is your identity, who you believe you are, right? So now you're finding evidence in your external world to reconfirm what you already believe to be true. So let's say you believe it's possible for you to make 10K per month. Okay, well, you see it, you're experiencing it, you're getting it in your life. Let's say you also believe that you're not a worthy person. Okay, you're seeing it, you're experiencing that in your life. Let's say you also believe that money equals hard to make. Okay, you're experiencing that, you see it in your life. So you're making the 10K per month, we'll say, but it's really stressful. You're stressed out all the time. It's very hard. You're overworking yourself. At the end of the day, you don't feel worthy. You feel like it's still not enough no matter what you do. So no matter how many more dollars you make, you still don't feel worthy. Okay? And that's our internal system. That's what we're struggling with. That's what we're suffering with. So that is what we're experiencing, right? Because again, your beliefs give the instructions for your brain to then go find that evidence, to the point where literally what you see in your reality, your nervous system filters it first, right? If it's a threat or not, based off, again, your beliefs and your experiences. So your nervous system filters it. How you give meaning to the situations that you see, how you give meaning and how you define things comes down to the belief system. What you focus, your RAS, what you focus on and filter out for information comes down to your belief system. So this is what I mean by all the information is already out there that you need to attract and create the new level of your success, but you just cannot see it yet because your brain's doing its job. It's just helping you by keeping the same program alive. So how you change this, how you genuinely change this is because the success that you want is right here. The success, the new idea we'll say to hit the next level in your business is right here. The success you want is right there. The 50K per month, let's say, that you want is right there. It's right there. But we can't perceive it yet until we change the identity. And as soon as we change this, as soon as we upgrade this right here, guess what? Then we expand our awareness. We expand our perception. We expand what I call our capacity. Okay? So now we can see the new idea. Now we can see more success, the 50K months. Now we can see these old programs and how they do not align with who we want to be, how we want to be. As soon as you change this here, everything, there's a little bit of lag time, but everything will change as well. And then you continue to act on that, you continue to do that, and your personal reality, your personal world will change. You'll hit that new level of your success. And ladies and gentlemen, that is a training for today. Now, if you are a near or about a 6-figure entrepreneur, I have something very special for you coming soon if this resonates with you. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at Caden Hayward, and make sure you like and subscribe and comment below what was the #1 biggest takeaway from today's training. I appreciate you guys all so much, and I'll see you on the next training.